This is the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast with Mike Kinnett and Ryan Herbert of ProStatus Financial, now celebrating 20 years helping families build successful retirements and lasting family legacies. Mike is a financial planner and estate planning attorney with a master's degree in tax and 4-time Amazon best-selling author. Ryan is a 5-star Wealth Management Award winner and top-ranked financial advisor by Forbes. Now, the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast.
So you want to retire, but you're worried you're going to be bored and stressed out about money. What about a partial retirement? We're going to talk about that and how does war affect today's stock market and your 401k. Mike and Ryan are here every week to help you grow, keep, and distribute your wealth in the most tax-efficient manner possible. And taxes. Of course, we're going to talk about taxes. Ryan Herbert, you're in the retirement hot seat today. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's great to be back. I had a week away from the office. I was working for my wife for an entire week. So, at home, she's the boss, as everyone likes to say. But, for that actual
we're all there with you, man. We're all there with you.
For that actual week, she really was the boss. So, I'm grateful to be back at the office myself where I get to be the boss.
So do you find that when you are in your own environment, it's a lot easier when you're in her environment, kind of things get thrown off a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. She's an event planner. It's her event. She does 2 really huge car shows a year, and it's very important to her and the family as far as income goes, and she always wants to be on top of things, and I'm constantly reminding her, hey, I've been doing this for 15 years for you. I don't need you to remind me or try to micromanage me. If I need something, I'll let you know. But other than that, just leave me alone.
Oh, but she does. Got a lot to talk about today. So it seems a difficult time these days to retire. With everything else going on now, we have what we think is another war, perhaps. It's still probably too early to even say with what's happening in Israel and Hamas. So should retirement savers be worried about their 401k? What's that going to do to the market? Well, JP Morgan's Mira Pandit, she told CNBC that investors should be pretty cool right now.
And of course, it's going to send some jitters through markets. But what we have seen over time is that typically the impact in the longer run from geopolitical events tends to be somewhat contained. So what we're watching right now as we see this conflict unfold from an economic and market perspective is, does it widen out? Do more countries within the Middle East get involved? What is the pass-through effect potentially to things like oil? But at this point, it's really early to say.
Yeah, thinking about those folks, no matter what, war is just a horrible situation. But as it pertains to us here, Ryan, you guys have been doing this for 2 decades now. So you guys have seen these ebbs and flows and all kinds of things that geopolitical can happen to affect the market. What are you telling your clients? And do you agree with her? Should we keep cool right now?
Absolutely. That's really what we tell our clients, is what we preach to our clients is, to stay the course and stick with the plan. Stock markets in general hate uncertainty. So anytime you have these conflicts or wars or anything like that, you always see the stock market's reaction. You'll have positive days, you'll have down days, but overall, like she says, it does kind of tend to smooth out. We had a lot of volatility in the market when Russia invaded Ukraine, going on 2 years now, I think, something like that. And since then, the stock market really hasn't been reacting to anything that's going on over there. So right now, yes, there is a lot of uncertainty. There is going to be a lot of market volatility because of what is happening. Like she said, we don't have any idea of what's really going to happen over there. How much involvement is the U.S. going to have? And, there's rumors that Iran's involved. And if that really draws the U.S. into something with Iran, then that will definitely have an impact on the market. But, anytime we have these moments of uncertainty in the market, we don't get a lot of panic calls from our clients. I might answer 1 or 2. Mike might have 2 or 3. It really kind of depends. But, it's all because of the plan that Mike and I have set in place. And if you listen to the radio, our radio program, our podcast, if you come to one of our workshops, you hear us talk about all the time that the number one thing we want to do is make sure that we have the income secure. You want to have your retirement income set up in a way that no matter what happens in the stock market, I have the money that I need to live on every single month. I have the roof over my head, the clothes on my back, and whatever ancillary spending, whatever lifestyle things I'm doing, whether it's $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, I have that coming in no matter what happens in the stock market. And that is really kind of the jumping off point of all of the financial plans that Mike and I do. The very first thing we're trying to accomplish is make sure that we have that income secure. You know, if you're going to have a pension, you're going to have Social Security, that other stream of income that's kind of filling that gap for you as safe and secure as possible. And that's why one of the things we tell people that, you know, no matter how conservative you make your money, any money that you are going to be reliant upon for income in retirement should never be out there in the stock market, because no matter how conservative you think you make it, it is always at risk in the stock market. Most people thought that bonds are the safest investment out there. You know, when the stock market drops, I'm not supposed to lose any money. But, you know, in 2022, when the stock market was falling and the Federal Reserve was raising interest rates, bonds fell 18, 22%, basically down where the market was. And if that's the money that I'm going to be living on in retirement, I can't take that 18 to 20 to maybe even 30% hit on my money. So I want to have a plan in place that accounts for market uncertainty. And if this is not something that you're having these conversations with your financial advisor about, if you're reaching out to them about, hey, what's going on in the stock market, and they're not getting back to you, you're not hearing a true answer from them, I encourage you to give us a call at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040, and sit down with Mike, myself, and our team here at ProStatus, and we'll put together your very own complimentary retirement plan that creates those guaranteed streams of income that you cannot outlive, that are unaffected by the overall market. 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040.
Your call will be answered live. 866-597-1040. Call now and get that time set up with Mike and Ryan, and it is complimentary. Also online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com, thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Front page there, you can click on the 401k X-ray button. And Brian, that's what I want to talk about here. Again, that's the 401k X-ray button, because that's really where we go to for protection and growth. And that's the overall plan, because it seems, I mean, we may not like it, but here's the reality, that we are dependent. Our 401ks, our money is dependent on the cycles of the world, the economics, you know, the geopolitical, and then of course there's the media, because the media is going to try to scare us one way or the other because they're reporting on the news, and all that is really swaying our money, and that's where the 401k X-ray comes in. Let's talk about that for a minute, because that's really where we find out where we are and are we okay, and what we should be doing to, God forbid, you know, avoid a big loss, especially if we're getting close to retirement.
You know, the 401k X-ray, the portfolio X-ray that Mike and I offer to any of our listeners at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040, really does this deep dive down into your investment portfolio. The big thing that we're looking at is, you know, how is this portfolio going to protect itself from the market? How susceptible to market losses is your portfolio going to be? How has it performed in the past? If a 2008 happens again, you know, how would this portfolio react? If the dot-com bubble type event happens again, here's what it react. The Ukrainian crisis, how it react. Really doing this stress test on your portfolio, finding out where all the overlap is, finding out what you own, if it owns the exact same thing as something else. But, you know, one thing it also does that nobody really ever thinks about is it goes into the fees that you're paying. And that's really one of the more eye-opening things. Most people, you know, when they say I'm a moderate investor, most people come back more aggressive. And that's, you know, some people are surprised by that, but oftentimes they say, you know, I thought I'm a little bit more aggressive than I should be. But, you know, it's interesting when I go through these X-rays and we're talking about the fees, the surprise on these people's faces.
I was just going to ask you that.
Just the other week, Lawrence and myself, you know, one of my other advisors, Lawrence, here in the Hanover office, we were meeting with clients, and you know, when they originally came in, he was real hesitant to provide us any information. So we had our first meeting and just kind of talked about, here's what I do, here's what happens in general, and then he finally gave me the statements. And as I was going through the statements with him, I was looking at the positions that he had, and I said, I noticed that you have a financial advisor. And he said, yeah. And I said, what's that relationship like? He said, well, he tells me he's a fiduciary, that he's looking out for my best interest. And I said, do you know about what he's charging you? Because I always want to know that question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know exactly how much you're paying your advisor? And he says, yeah, I think I'm paying him right around 1.2%. And I said, yep, that's right. 1.2%. I said, but then has he ever talked to you about, what he's investing in and how those things work? And he just said, no. Since he's a fiduciary, he told me he's a fiduciary, I just trusted that he's doing, really what's in my best interest. And I said, well, let's think about this for a second. You're paying this advisor 1.2% to manage the assets, meaning buy and sell on your behalf based on what they're thinking in the market. But really what I'm seeing inside of this portfolio is he's just charging you 1.2%. And then he's gone out and just bought a ton of mutual funds. And mutual funds have their own fund manager that picks and chooses the stocks and bonds that these things own, but then they have the fee involved. Because when I said mutual funds, he said, okay, I have mutual funds in my 401k. I said, yeah, you do, but you're not paying anyone else a fee. So when I was going through these mutual funds, he had mutual funds from 20 or 30 different companies. And I just said to him, just pick one at random. I know which ones cost the most expensive and what you have. I know exactly how much some of these things cost, but just pick one at random. We'll look at it. He ended up picking one of these funds, and I went through. I have this really cool tool that says, here's all the costs associated with the mutual fund. And if it's in a brokerage account, here's the tax cost as well. And I went through this mutual fund. The mutual fund, it cost him 3.25% to own it. I said, okay, you've got about $150,000 in this mutual fund. So you're paying 3.25% on this $150,000, and you're paying 1.2%. So altogether, about 4.45% just to own this one.
Just on that one
mutual fund. And across all of them, the range was probably right around 2.2, 2.3% when I went across all of them, because he had some low-cost T. Rowe, some low-cost Vanguard, but then he had some higher-end funds in there. But, it was just this eye-opening experience for him to say, wow, I had no idea that this is what my investments were truly costing me. That is really what that portfolio X-ray does. It tells us how much risk you're taking. It tells us if there's any type of overlap. What happens if the stock market does X? Here's what my portfolio does. But most importantly, drills down deep into here's exactly what you're paying. And I'll even show you that number in real dollars, not just percentages, in real dollars, so you can see exactly what you're paying. But it all starts by giving us a call at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. And sit down with Mike, myself, and our team here at Pro Status. Absolutely complimentary. 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040.
Is that the game changer when you actually put it in real dollars? Because a percentage is a percentage, but when you put it in real dollars, that's really when it makes, then it hurts.
Yeah, I mean, you can show, and then of course, I show you, here's what Mike and I charge, here's the cost of investment. So you can see the difference there. But people are like, okay, but then when I say, all right, this is going to cost you $5,000 and this is costing you $15,000, that's really when they see the big difference. Like, all right, wait a minute. I really need to think about the relationship that I have with my current advice givers. That's kind of the big turning point right there.
Well, it's a great opportunity for you, because if you are thinking about that right now, if you're questioning, if you want a second opinion, now is a great opportunity to call Mike, to call Ryan and the team at Pro Status Financial. 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Call now. Your call will be answered live, and it is a complimentary appointment to go over your portfolio with that portfolio X-ray and that 401k X-ray and review. 866-597-1040. Again, it's complimentary, 866-597-1040. Call now, and also online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com, and those are complimentary. So let's talk about a partial retirement. I've got a buddy of mine. He's been in radio for many, many years, morning show, and he would do the news, and he would have to wake up about 1:30 every night or every morning to get ready to put the newscast together, so on and so forth. He'd be done by 11:30, I guess, but that's just such a grueling schedule. And then when he was afraid. Because he's like, man, I'm not sure I want to retire. Am I going to be bored? Am I going to have enough money? It's the same thing we all go through. So he decided to do a partial retirement where he goes in, 2 days a week, and then the rest he's on and he's off, and he could do some work from home as well. But that's what a lot of people are encountering right now. They're scared and they're worried that they're not going to have enough money, that it's going to run out, but then they're also going to be bored. And that's something that we never think about until now. So is a partial retirement, Ryan, is that something that we need to be thinking about when we're contemplating retirement?
Well, not so much partial retirement. What you need to be thinking about is, what am I going to do on Tuesday afternoon every single week for the rest of my life? Because for so long, your identity, your spouse's identity has been going into the office, or, if you're fortunate enough to have a stay-at-home significant other, they get a relief from you because you leave the house. My wife, she works from home. She runs her company from home, so she is a stay-at-home parent, even though she's running her.
God bless her, man. That's an important job.
Her full-time job from the basement in her office there. But we get a break from each other when I leave, and the days when I work from home, we're in the same room all day long because that's my office is in her office, and it drives her nuts. And having a part-time job because you want to have something to do in retirement, that's pretty common, actually. A lot of my clients, they all do something for a period of time. It kind of goes to that 3 bad day rule. Mike and I say, having that 3 bad day rule is knowing that I have this plan in place that I can retire whenever I want. It's getting you to the point where you're working because you want to be there. It's working because you're getting something out of it, not just money. You're getting, the social interaction, the personal feeling of reward, but knowing that if I have 3 bad days in a row, I'm going to quit. I'm going to tell my boss that's it, and I'm going to do something else. But it's working part-time in retirement is perfectly fine because you want something to do. And I love to use the example of my father. He is 67 now. He retired from UPS. I want to say it was 56, maybe 57, maybe even 55. I can't really remember exactly when because it's been that long at this point. But, he was at that point where it was the 3 bad day rule for him. He liked going into the office every single day. But, for as long as we were growing up, Christmas time, he was not always there on Christmas Eve, but every single morning he was there Christmas morning. He might have been asleep on the couch, but he was there. And it just got to a point where, my brother started having kids. He's like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. I can retire. I've saved up enough money. And he sat at home for, 3 months. And my mom at a point was like, is this what you're going to do all day? You're just going to sit on the couch and watch TV? And he said, you know what? I'm going to go do something because he could only play so much golf. In Maryland, we have a very limited boating season. So he could only go out on his boat so much. So then he went and, he contacted some friends of his who had since left UPS and were doing other things. And he went and got, another full-time job. He did that full-time job for about 6 months. He took it because it was the first thing that was there. But he went from commuting 5 minutes a day, most of his working career, to, an hour and a half up to north of Baltimore. And then he came in my office one day and he said, I hate this. Why am I doing this? And I said, I don't know why you're doing this. I told you were done. You didn't have to work. So then he quit that job. And, since then, I think he's worked 5 or 7 different part-time jobs just so that he has something to do with his day, so that he's not at home doing nothing all day. He's not getting in my mom's way, making her angry, but he's doing it because he wants something to do with his time, not because he needs the money. And that is the best part about a part-time retirement. It is doing something to either A, have something to do, or B, have something that you enjoy, or C, just to get you out of the house so that your retirement doesn't end in divorce. That's kind of one of those things.
We joke about it, but it's true, right?
Yeah, I joke about it, but when have you ever been with your spouse for 24 hours a day? Aside from vacation, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks a year, you're never with them all the time. So you want to have something to do. And that's one of those things that Mike and I talk about. We sit down, we talk about, how much money do you want to have coming in every single month? All right, here's how we're going to do that. Now that you're retired, now that your retirement date is, October 31st, 2024, what are you doing November 1? What is the next step for you? What are you going to do with your time? And it's working with our clients and helping them realize, these are the things that you can do. Here's what's out there for you in retirement. And if you're feeling like, I want to get that 3 bad day rule, where I want to be in a position to know that I can retire tomorrow, I just want to be able to stay at work as long as I want. Or if you want to be at that position where, I want to stop working and I want to do something part-time that I've always wanted to do, I encourage you to give us a call, 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040, and sit down with Mike, myself, and our team here at ProStatus, and we'll put together your very own retirement plan where we're going to talk about income streams for your retirement. We're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about estate planning. We're going to talk about long-term care, life insurance, tax planning, all those aspects of a financial plan all under one roof. But it all starts by giving us a call at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040.
Your call will be answered live. And why don't we do this? Why don't we, when you do call in, say, I want to take up Ryan on his 3 bad day rule offer, and that'll get you started on that retirement conversation. Again, that's 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Your call will be answered live, so go ahead and call now and set that time up for that 3 bad day rule plan, and make sure that you are doing the right steps for your retirement. Also online at the SavvyInvestorRadio.com, SavvyInvestorRadio.com. Got to get to some birthdays here before we wrap things up, Ryan, but when you're putting a plan like this together, it seems like income is absolutely the first step, because you got to know how the bills are going to be paid, right?
Exactly. The number one goal is to make sure that you have that income. Just like when you're working, that paycheck comes in once a month or twice a month or whatever happens to be, that the day you retire, there's no drop in income, so that you have exactly how much you need to live on each and every month. That is the number one goal for us here at ProStatus.
I'm about 15 years out from that, but golly, I cannot wait for that moment. Just the feeling, I may not push the button and do it, but that partial thing, but just knowing that you can do it, it's got to be so, just that feeling of freedom. It's just incredible. If you want to take advantage of that, 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Again, call now. Your call will be answered live for the 3 bad day rule plan from Mike Kinnett, Ryan Herbert, and the team at ProStatus Financial, and of course online at the SavvyInvestorRadio.com. Now we're on YouTube. Be sure to check us out there on your computer. You can watch us do the show and get the great information that we give you there as well. Search for ProStatus Financial Advisors Group on YouTube, also LinkedIn and Facebook there. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share with your friends there as well. All right, let's get to some birthdays.
Every single month we always have birthdays. We like to wish happy birthday to some of our clients. So happy birthday to Noel out there. It's your 65th birthday, so a pretty big birthday. Happy birthday to Pat, and happy birthday out there to Miriam. And if you are celebrating a birthday this week, we here at the Savvy Investor Radio and ProStatus Financial want to wish you a very happy and healthy birthday. And this is Ryan Herbert. Thank you so much for listening to the Savvy Investor Radio show and podcast. We'll see you, the Savvy Investor, next week.
Advisory services offered through ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, a registered investment advisor. Insurance licensed in Maryland. ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if ProStatus Financial Advisors Group is licensed in your state, please call 410-863-1040. ProStatus Group, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through representatives of ProStatus Financial Advisors Group.